Who warns that the next pandemic could strike tomorrow? Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you sincere Aki pushing this word in all sincerity and truth. All right, and shalom to the hopeful elect, 144,000. All right, I'm the brother Damon Gabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. All right, this is not going to be a long lesson, but what timing, huh? In the midst of all the shit that's going on with Trump and these tariffs and the squeeze they're getting ready to put on the average American people, the consumer, the stock market crashing, this up and coming inflation and price risings, the talk of World War III. And all of a sudden, you haven't been hearing anything about, the WHO. Supposedly they've been dismantled. They've lost funding. Trump has, severed the head of this snake. And you got RFK Jr. and his new administration coming in to fix all of the issues and the problems. Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out and telling you that the next P could strike tomorrow. All right. And this is just more part of the psychological operation, more of the fear and the tactics. And hey, this could be real. Maybe they might just release something again like they did before, or maybe this is just, something that they're throwing out there to add more hysteria and more fear and to, fuck with the minds of the people. But either way it go, we do know that this is prophetic. We know that pestilences shall arise, and we know that these devils always had this up their sleeve that they wanted to use, to bring more chaos. All right. Damn it, Salaki, let me take this call. All right, never mind. So we know that, hey, remember, we've been prophesying. I've done plenty of videos telling you that, there will be another P that, don't get too comfortable. They were going to let this whole talk fade into the background, and then eventually it would rear its ugly head again. But now they're saying, look, it could strike tomorrow. And we know that these devils do a lot of self-prophesying. They plan things ahead of time. And now, as we see people preparing for harder times to come, that what better way to add more trauma and more fear and more psychological operations is to, throw this out there. So let's read a little bit of this. It says, according to the WHO World Health Organization, governments must invest in a response to global contagion without delay. WHO is warning that another deadly P could emerge as soon as tomorrow, and it is calling on the countries of the world to prepare for it. It says, WHO announced following just days after the Caesar, Dr. Anthony Fauci warned that at the next global outbreak would likely be an easily transmissible respiratory disease with a significant degree of morbidity. How would they know that? All right. And these are the type of things you have to ask yourself, How can they just tell you that, oh, yeah, it might be just this, maybe because that's what they've been planning for. Maybe that's what the latest thing they've been working on and cooking up to throw out there and to release, to bring the order out of the chaos, more fear, to give them more control, to, bring in martial law, to bring in sweeping executive orders to where, this time, you're not going to have an option. You're going to be forced to take whatever they give you, or it might just be used to, bring certain death and certain fear and hysteria so that the people will be willing to give over their rights and to, throw themselves under the complete control over the so-called ones that could cure, this type of situation. It says in a statement on Monday, the WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom, whatever the hell his name is, urged governments to invest in health security and finalize the P agreement, an international treaty on the P prevention and response. You see, and since these nations have kind of, the trust in the WHO, and like I said, allegedly Trump has been defunding them and shutting them down, and he's attacking them for what they caused last time. Maybe this could be thrown out there or released so that people can gain a newfound trust in the WHO system, and they can get the agenda that they always wanted to get. Remember, these devils are very crafty and they're very slick, man. It says the global outbreak of the C19, which began in late 2019, resulted in an estimated 20 million deaths worldwide and wiped out more than 10 trillion from the global economy, according to the WHO. And we know why that whole situation happened. All right, we're not going to get into that. you should already know that it was a test run, a trial run, and it got a lot of the desired results. It says a new similar contagion could happen in 20 years or more, or it could happen tomorrow. But it will happen in either way. We must be ready, Tedros has said, describing it as an epidemiological certainty rather than a theoretical risk, you see? And that's bold words that they're saying, and even Donald Trump, even Bill Gates of hell said the next one is going to get everybody's attention. You see, so as everybody is focused on the economy, everybody is protesting about what Trump is doing. Everybody's mad about the administration. People are stressed and worried about the price increasing of all of these daily goods and alcohol and beer and clothing and all the electronics and cars and, worrying about their how they're going to ride this wave of coming inflation. Now they just threw something else on the table. OK. It says a P can cause more social and economic damage than a war. And we know that these are what these devils want. This is why we can't put it out of the realm of possibility that this is why they're all of a sudden bringing this up. And they might just do something to where it's going to cause, social and economic damage than a war. In the meantime, bring in a real third world war. It says he claimed while pointing out that the investment needed in health security is nothing compared to what governments spend on defense. All countries need to find a balance in protecting their people from both bombs and bugs, he said. On Tuesday, the U.S. proposed a record-breaking $1 trillion defense budget. In March, the European Union announced a plan to mobilize up to $800 billion to militarize the bloc, citing a perceived threat from Russia, you see. It says, while the P agreement under discussion at the WHO does not specify exact amounts that governments are expected to allocate, it aims to improve global preparedness in response to future threats. Yeah. So as we can see, man, hey, these devils are at it again. All right. They're throwing this out there. It's a little bit more chaos and social unrest to add on top of what's about to take place in the near future with these tariffs. All right, and this is Psalm 64:5 in the NLT. It says they encourage each other to do evil and plan how to set their traps in secret. Who will ever notice, they ask. As they plot their crimes, they say, we have devised a perfect plan. Yes, the human heart and mind are cunning. You see, like I said earlier, this devil's a very cunning and sly and slick individual, man. All right. And this could be nothing more than just part of his cunning and part of his crafty agendas to further bring more chaos so that they can bring the order out of it and bring in a new digital beast system, you see. And doing something like this could be a way that they could cause people to take to get involved with this digital ID. You're going to need the proper digital requirements in order to buy and sell, to go into stores. Pretty soon, if they allow something like this to happen, you're going to need a digital form proving that you got what you need if this particular thing is if this particular respiratory situation becomes another pandemic. This time they're not going to, give you the option. They're not going to let you slide without having, what they require you to have in order to prove that you've been treated or that you're not sick from this situation, which can eventually lead to your digital ID is going to ultimately lead to your MOTB. All right. And it's all part of the crafty counsel of these damn devils. All right. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2:11. It said, lest Satan should get an advantage of us. And this is why this devil wants to bring all of this chaos and all of this disorder, man, so that he can get the advantage, so that he can ultimately lure you into a trap, so that he can have ultimate and complete control over every aspect of your lives, man. And what if something like this was to happen, all it would give is the government and the WHO more control over if you can leave your house, when you can leave your house, when things are safe, what you need to take in order to be so-called safe or protected from this new thing. All right. It allowed them to implement martial law, to bring in lockdowns just like they did before. You can't go to work. You can't do this. You have to have proof of V Nation, So, hey, man, these devils are at work, man. But you can't let this devil get the advantage, man. And we got to be on top of things, knowing that a lot of these things that he's doing are planned and orchestrated. None of this shit is just coincidence. None of it is just happening randomly out of the ordinary. This is part of the plot and craftiness and the slickness of this damn devil, man. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So I'm going to close it there. All right. I got to run. But I just wanted to just tap into this before I left. Because, hey, as we can see, man, hey, more psychological operations, more fear-based trauma, more fear, more situations like this, so that these devils can, have people's minds all over the place and scare the shit out of them so that they can get the advantage over you. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And to the next one, Shalom.